guys, this is Eve. Thanks for tuning into my YouTube channel. This channel is dedicated to exploring various topics in the metaphysics and looking at them from a very occult standpoint. And this video is going to be about channeling. I think this is time for me to do a video about channeling or what have you. I probably should have done this video like at the very beginning of creating this particular channel. Especially to, because I have soul contracts with people and I channel for certain people. So, I feel like I need to let them know like what happens, like from my perspective, like point of view, what happens when it comes to channeling. Okay. Um Now, a channel is basically a channeler, right? Or some people call us a medium or a clairvoyant, whatever. But a channeler is basically, you can't really see my eyes, can you? Um, Sorry, I just got back from lifting, guys, so I'm, heading back, but um and I'm a little bit tired too, so but I like to do my spiritual work oftentimes. I do my videos when I'm kind of sort of tired because I feel like my ego is kind of like in the background, and so I can kind of be a little bit more, what's the word? I don't know, like authentic or whatever. But anyway, so a channeling is when somebody is giving you information from something else or someone else, okay? So oftentimes, like, people will be like, oh, like when they meet me, they're like, oh, is that you? I was planning on meeting Eve, or I was planning on meeting Isis, or like any type of other entity or whatever that I channel. But I'm a channeler, okay? So um I get information and then I disseminate the information out. So, it's not exactly like what you think. And I like people to like think be in awe of me, and I'm like, "Oh, cuz I want to be like, important and stuff like that." I try to kind of like get like a swag because I don't really have very much ego, but that's why I'm a channeler. Because entities don't really come up to you if you have a lot of ego. You see what I'm saying? So if you don't have a lot of ego, they're easier to inhabit. I know this sounds really freaky because there's a lot of stigma attached to, being in touch with the spiritual world, and people who are mediums or channelers and stuff like that. It's like, oh, they're evil people, or they're, I don't know, whatever the case is, but it's not exactly what you think. Channelers, we can't have very much ego. And when we do inhabit what you would call entity, um, we have to give up, I don't know, you don't call it power, but give that entity the availability to speak through you, whatever the case is. Okay. So, it's like, and I try to tell people, who I channel for is that the stuff I'm telling you, you're telling me to tell it to you, but in this reality. Does that make sense? Because there's a part of us that exists beyond this physical 3D reality. And this is why I channel, especially for the 144,000 people who are arch negatives, people who have arch negative blood, because people who are arch negatives, we have epic subconscious minds, because you know we are virgin spirits. Oftentimes our subconscious has not been realized in the physical realm, and so we have a whole lot of power, subconscious power, and sometimes we can be disconnected from that power. So when we're disconnected from that power, we utilize people to help us to get messages, or whatever the case is, to get messages in. Okay. So I tell people, like, if you're listening to something from me about your subconscious contacted me. You see what I'm saying? Everybody has a subconscious here. Everybody takes the mark of the beast. The beast is your subconscious. How is the subconscious birthed, right? The subconscious is birthed out of a restriction, right? We're under restriction. We can't do what we want to do. We can't say what we want to say. We can't, we have to follow certain norms, societal norms, and things like that. Um, and so it limits our consciousness. So I like to explain it like how the spirit is water, but if you put the water in a container, the container is the ego. And so the water will take on the shape of any container that you put it in. So this kind of corresponds a little bit to the what is it? The coffins of the zodiac, the avatars of the zodiac, as we keep getting reborn here. But I'm not really gonna go too much into that. I'm a little tired, y'all. I've been riding all night, and I didn't even get any good tips. I thought that if I showed my tits, no, I'm just kidding, that I would get some good tips. I feel like I'm very like flirty and cute, but nobody else thought so. So it's all right. I don't care. I'm still wonderful. But anyway, um, okay, so getting back to what I'm saying, everybody has a mark of the beast or a subconscious mind. So the more you get reborn, the more of a subconscious you accumulate with all the restrictions. So you have a whole lot of restrictions. So whenever you're a soul that is so old and polarized, you get a whole lot of restriction, which is a whole lot in the subconscious, then you are separated from the subconscious. So you don't really know who you are when you go to sleep at night, and you're not really in tune with who you will connect with when you die. You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to a soul that's like that, it will seek out what you would call a medium or a clairvoyant or a psychic, whatever you want to call it. You see what I'm saying? Somebody that is depressed of ego, who will allow it to come through them. You see what I'm saying? So, I channel a lot of, different, I wouldn't say a lot. I don't really channel a whole lot of different people. Um, but I channel, certain entities that would have, like Isis, right? Isis is an entity that I channel. And Isis is, me and Isis are not alike. I know, right? This is really some crazy ass shit. But Isis and I are not alike. I want to be like Isis, right? As an ego, but Isis is a very how would I describe her? Man, Isis is like, I don't know. She is very graceful and very feminine. She is also very masculine. And when I say masculine, I feel like she embodies the divine feminine and the divine masculinity within balance. And she's very beautiful. When I channel Isis, I'm just like in awe of like some of the things that she says and some of the information that she gives me to give to people who I have contracts with. Like after I come out of trance with Isis, I have to read the stuff that I tell people because I'm that's the thing what people don't understand. When I channel, I'm learning the stuff that I'm telling you. And that doesn't make any literal common sense to people. Some people are just like, bitch, you're batshit crazy. But I'm kind of like taking over or whatever the case is when this entity comes through. I have to be very careful with Isis too because I mean, although she's very graceful and she's very oh, I don't know why my lights keep doing this, but um she's very graceful and beautiful and very just intelligent, and she's just a fucking boss bitch. You know what I mean? But I mean, I'm not really necessarily like that. You see what I'm saying? So there's like a dissociative aspect that's coming through. You see what I'm saying? But my ego is just very much plain, like, I'm like everybody else. You know what I mean? I'm not somebody that, you know, you're gonna look at and say, "Oh, Well, I can't say that though because now that I'm very empathic, I do get people that look at me and they're just like they just kind of stare, and I'm just like, "What are you staring at?" Children, especially, children can see into the aura, and see into dimensions better than humans because they're not as far removed from the spiritual world. Um, so I do get a lot of gawking sometimes because my third eye is way open. I'm trying to close it and balance it so I can kind of open it when I need to and close it when I need to. Open it when I'm doing my spiritual work with people I have contracts with, or whatever the case is, but not have it open all the time. You see what I'm saying? So it can cause a whole lot of unwanted attention and spiritual attacks too, because people are afraid we can see into their aura. They're like, oh, I don't want you to see how there's I just don't understand this freaking, I don't know, like, but anyway, um so uh, so whack. Okay. So they yeah, people don't want you to see what they look like in the inside. Now, let me tell you something. I'm a very old soul, and so I'm very ugly on the astral realm. Like I tell people all the time, because I have a little ego left. So 3D is like my beautiful, oh, nice and sweet. But beyond this dimension, very masculine, menacing. And so, I tell people like, I mean, there's really no reason to cover up for me. You know what I mean? It's like, if you see how I look, it's like, oh, bitch, you can't really, you can approach me. You know what I mean? Mm, you know, so I guess if you're a very grounded soul, I'd look very angelic, whatever the case is. But once you see through my eyes, you'll be like, oh my gosh, like, what the hell is that? I feel bad for saying that. But when I tell it, I have to tell it all. You know what I mean? So, um, oh my gosh, some people walking by. Let me lock my door. All right. But anyway, you when you tell, you have to tell it all. And so I can't really disclose the light unless I give you the dark as well. You see what I'm saying? There's light and dark in all of us. And so, the information that I give you, if I'm channeling your subconscious, you told me to tell you in another dimension. So I tell people, don't like deify me like that. Although I do like it because I don't have a lot of ego. So I want to be special. I feel like I want to be special in this life. I feel like I'm a little plain. So I try to do things to kind of like set myself aside from people. But, um, yeah, don't deify me. Like once you get past the 3D, you'd be like, oh, yeah. You're probably going to say I look lovely, in 3D. But once you get past here, like in that PM Dawn song, he's like, you probably won't think nothing of me. You know what I mean? Like, okay. So, I try to tell people that, um, you know, these are beings or entities or subconscious of other people that have contacted me because I'm depressed of ego, that are using me as a service. So you can think of it as like a service, like if you go to like a restaurant or something, or you go to, I don't know, you go to an establishment and you say, and you're going there for a service. It's the same thing. It's just a service, except for it's not like the 3D mundane service that you think about, but it's a service. It's I'm contacting you so you can actually benefit me in this physical realm. I'm not as connected to my subconscious self. And so you're open to receiving information. So since you're open to receiving, I'm open to giving it to you. So it's done, channeling is done in a very, very subconscious way. A very subconscious way. And it really does affect me physically. I'll be honest with you guys. Like, I mean, I really am, trying to keep my physical, existence together, and trying to, get my head above water, and be financially stable and that type of thing. And really, it's hard because, you know, I will get spirits that come to me, because a spirit doesn't have a body. Even a subconscious, we all have a subconscious, right? Birthed out of a restriction. Like, it's a phantom, like Phantom of the Opera. Like, Christine is the Christ, Raul is her. So she's Eve, and Raul is Adam. But the phantom represents the, I guess what you would say, disembodied, distorted aspect of Eve, right? Of Christine. So, I tell people, I lost my train of thought. Damn, I'm tired. But anyway, What was I saying? Okay, so this is a disembodied aspect. So it's like a dead person, really. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't have a body. So you are giving it a body. You see what I'm saying? You're giving it a body. You're giving um you know, you can think of our subconscious as like dead people, and you're giving them a body to be able to express themselves in the physical, because they can't express themselves in the physical. Okay. And so this, for people who are not open to these things, they are you know it's hard for them to understand. You see what I'm saying? It's even hard for me to understand. You know what I mean? But all I can do is just kind of point to what I'm saying and tell you from a more mundane perspective, and hopefully you can kind of connect to, what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm a regular person. I work a job, like my mom was saying, when you piss and shit just like me, I mean, you're not really better than me. And I do piss and shit. You know what I mean? So, when you kind of really think about it, whatever the case is, we all have our gifts, right? I consider myself to be a quote unquote um, sky god, right? Very psychically in tune. Whereas some people are very grounded, so they're very good at working in the physical realm. So they're earth gods. And so we all have our own expertise and stuff like that. But, it's good to appreciate the other, but you really are the other. You know what I mean? It's just that within this physical reality, in our physical realm, your soul made a decision to not be in touch with this higher aspect of itself, whereas other people do have that. And so this is how we get the physical realm. I can't be high if you're not low. I'm I don't know. You know what I mean? That's just pretty much how it works, I suppose. You know what I mean? We're all different, but we're all a part of this particular whole, or what have you. But I would say, when you um seek to be like somebody else, or when you're in such awe of somebody else, just know that you're in awe of yourself, and you're a wonderful person. You're a wonderful person in this limited ego, and you're a wonderful person outside and expanded, the expansion of your soul. You know what I mean? um but it does kind of work on me, or whatever the case is, oftentimes, because, like I said, physically, I'm not really, like I said, I feel like I'm not very grounded. I'm not. I feel like I've been getting a lot of pull. That's what I meant to talk about before. I lost my train of thought. But I've been getting a lot of pull from certain souls, and then certain souls that I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm not uh what is it? I don't know. I'm not used to, you know what I mean? And it requires a whole lot of energy. And I don't know. I feel like in awe of working with some of the souls I'm working with right now. In awe. And I'm like, man, why would this soul want to talk to someone like me? You know what I mean? But it requires a lot of energy. And so because I have to work, because I have to bathe and go to the bathroom, and I got to do stuff in the mundane world to maintain my physical existence. But having a pull from certain spirits and pull from people's subconscious and stuff like that, it drains my energy, or what they call chi, or what have you. So I tell people, although I know a lot of stuff, right? The tree of knowledge only leads to death. You know what I mean? So you have to have the tree of life as well. And my daughter, she's much better. She's probably going to be a little bit weaker with this because she's only 12. But she's going to eventually, her gifts, just like a lot of kids or whatever around that age, adolescence, they're being recalibrated from a child into an adult. So their spiritual gifts, right, that they're born with, that's going to be separated a little bit. It's going to dwindle down until eventually they lose connection with the subconscious, so they go looking for that subconscious connection through someone else because they're like looking for themselves. You know what I mean, type of thing. But she's more of an adept. She can read my mind. My daughter reads my mind all the time. She's so beautiful. And she just turns like fucked up shit about me into like something funny and cheeky. Like she loves like laughing at my pain. And I'm just like, really, Lark? But she like will turn it into something like silly and transmute it for you. She is I'm just in awe of her. I want to be her. Like I want to be my daughter. Lots of ways. And she is truly a god. She's old soul. She's a Pisces sun in Western astrology. So, before the age of 30, we're born into our Western time. And Pisces is an old soul. It's an old soul. And she's older. The soul is older than mine. So sometimes when you see like kids and you're like, they're your kid, but on the astral realm, astrally speaking, they're your elder. So it's kind of weird. You know what I mean? I don't know. As a psychic, it's kind of weird. But when my daughter was really young and I would try to help her do stuff, I'm like, you know what, Laurie, let mommy help you do your homework or whatever. And she's like, no, and she would pop me on my hand. But, like, it's like, how dare you let your daughter pop you on your hand or whatever the case is. Like, like a lot of us, black people, we grew up like, your children, like, you better not, like, like touch me or whatever. But no, it was like a mama pop. It wasn't like I'm mad at you. It was like, no, you allow me to do this myself. So it was very so by and by I've come to discover now that I have access to um, you know, subconscious, my psychic abilities and things like that back that I had when I was a child. I have an understanding now of why things are the way that they are and what, things that happened in the past or what have you. But I think that's pretty much what I want to talk about. I want to talk about channeling and how, I'm used basically to deliver information. And the information that I deliver comes from you. It comes from your subconscious or some other, like I said, entity or what have you, um, that gives me information. And that's another thing. Spirit can see right into, like for example, if your subconscious comes to me and says, hey, there's something fucked up that's about to happen to me, I can't get in touch with myself. I can't get in touch with myself. You need to get in touch or what have you. It will tell me what to say because it knows you. Your subconscious is like God, okay? So your subconscious is like God. It controls your consciousness. Basic psychology tells you this, right? But some people aren't as connected with it. So because it knows you, when I say something to you, it's going to say, if you say this, then they'll listen, then they'll pay attention. You see what I'm saying? But I'm not really the one that's saying it. You're the one that's saying it, but you're using me to say it to you. Okay? So, I think that's what I want to say. I'm tired now. I think I might get some breakfast. I'm not sure what I'm going to eat. But, doing a lot of spiritual work and just regular mundane work just takes a whole lot out of you, takes a lot of energy. And my daughter's birthday is today, and I'm just so excited to hopefully have some time with her, between her and her dad or whatever the case is. And it's a lot of things weighing on me. I have a lot going on, a lot, um and a lot of recuperating, once I get out of my trances and my meditations and stuff like that and doing my spiritual work. So I'm sorry guys, if I happen to be away for a little bit or whatever. It's nothing about you or anything like that. It's just that I'm really struggling trying to kind of get myself together. People don't really realize, but like as mediums, we're like regular people. We're regular people, and it's more of a struggle for us to be grounded than anybody else. You see what I'm saying? so we can be very depleted and stuff like that. But we have to, kind of balance, you know what I mean? But it's hard to do so. Okay, so I think that's it for me, guys, and I will see you in my next video.